Today we're exploring the NFC East. How did the NFL draft reshape their depth charts? And how can you exploit it in your fantasy leagues? We're going to give you the straw that helps you drink your league mates' fantasy milkshakes. That was not a great analogy. It gets worse. Welcome to Shutout Football. I'm Jeff Stoltzfus, that's Kevin, and hey, if you're new here, consider subscribing or whatever. It's not like we're trying to build something here! Let's get into it. The goddamn Dallas Cowboys. Jerry and company traded back in the first round before taking offensive lineman Jayden, setting the tone for this draft. Cowboys fans, prepare to be whelmed. Winners, Dak Prescott, or whoever the future QB is for investing in the trenches with the first 3 picks. Ezekiel Elliott, who was signed soon after the draft and gets to watch his career die where it was born. Losers, Micah Parsons' inner spirit, as it's repeatedly fucked with a chainsaw by the Cowboys front office and filmed for a live television audience's amusement. It's like Running Man for the soul. In the second round, they took Marshawn Kneeland, edge out of Oklahoma. In college, he had 149 tackles, 12.5 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles. He's got good size, good speed, and testing metrics were all great. He had the top athleticism score for the position in the draft. He plays the run and the pass well. He was the 9th edge off the board. The edging room is Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Sam Williams, and Viliami Fehoko. Parsons is 24 years old. He's in the 4th year of his rookie contract. He needs a deal, and I'm sure he'll get one. The Cowboys never screw up contracts. DeMarcus Lawrence is 32 years old. He's got 2 more years left on his deal. Sam Williams is 25 years old. He's in the 3rd year of his rookie deal. I don't expect much for Kneeland in his rookie year, just some rotational play. Sam Williams could stay or go after 2025, but I think Lawrence is definitely gone. So Kneeland could be the replacement, but don't forget about Sam Williams. He's actually very good, and he himself was a 2nd-round draft pick too, so there's no reason to expect that Kneeland is the replacement or worth investment in IDP. In the 3rd round, they took Martis Luifau, linebacker, Notre Dame. He's got good size and speed, he's got good draft capital and a unique skill set. He didn't have a ton of production in college. 119 tackles, 4 sacks over 3 years. He plays better in coverage. He's an average tackler. The linebacking room is Damone Clark, Eric Kendricks, DeMarvion Overshown, and Marquise Bell. Clark is 23 years old. He's on the 3rd year of his rookie deal. Kendricks is 32 years old. He's on a 1-year deal. And Overshown is 23 years old. He was a 3rd-round pick last year. He's still on a rookie deal. With Leighton Vander Esch gone, they definitely needed to fill a linebacker spot. But I'm not sure that they actually did that here with this pick. He's viewed more like a nickel linebacker. So potentially he could be on the field for nickel coverages only. The guy actually reminds me a lot of linebacker Zach Bond, who was a 3rd-round pick by the Saints and is now with the Eagles. He's not a bad player, but he's not a good one for fantasy football. I'm not likely to invest in any of this linebacking room, but if I do, it's likely Kendricks for this year and Overshown for the future. In the 6th round, they took Ryan Flournoy, wide receiver, Southeast Mississippi State. Athletically, it's all there. 6'1", 200 pounds, he runs a 4.4. He had 2 years of good production in college. He can stretch the field, he's got good hands and concentration. However, he's 24 years old, he went to a small school, he's got 6th-round draft capital, and his route running is not the best. The receiver room is CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Jalen Tolbert, Cavante Turpin, Jalen Brooks, and Jalen Moreno-Cropper. Lamb's 25 years old, he's on the final year of his rookie deal, looking to get paid. And they will pay him. Cooks is 30 years old. He's got 2 more years left on his deal with an out after this year, but a $6 million dead cap money hit. Tolbert's 25 years old, he's on the 3rd year of his rookie deal. Turpin is 27, he's on the final year of his deal, but he's more of a special teams weapon. Brooks is a 7th-round pick from last year, and Moreno-Cropper is a UDFA from last year. I don't think it's going out on a limb to say that Flournoy could be the number 4 receiver here this year, in his rookie year. But I think he's a developmental guy. I don't have much conviction that he can work his way up from the number 4 spot to any fantasy relevance. They're more likely to draft somebody or bring somebody else in next year. He's got a lot of athletic upside, but I haven't seen enough yet to feel confident in investing in him. I want to see how he does in preseason, and then maybe he's on my watch list, but currently he's mocked outside the top 50, and I'm just not interested. It was shocking to see the Cowboys didn't draft a running back in this draft. It certainly seemed like a position of need. However, I realize a lot of teams have devalued the position lately, like the Chiefs, but the Chiefs then went out and signed 4 undrafted running backs after the draft. The Cowboys only signed 1. Certainly doesn't feel like I can call Ezekiel Elliott or anybody in this running back room a winner. There are no upgrades lurking in the free agency market. Hard to know if they just kicked that can down the road for another year, or if they're going to try and swing an in-season trade. If they do, I think I would keep my eye on someone like Khalil Herbert from the Bears. Somebody who could help them this year, but won't prevent them from going out and getting more next year. Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles addressed the positions I wanted them to, but not with the guys I thought they would, so I'm left with a lot of questions post-draft. Winners. Optics, because the defense looks better on paper, but we won't find out until September if that's toilet paper. Losers. Kenneth Gainwell, James Bradbury. In the first round, they took Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback out of Toledo, and then in the second round, Cooper Dejean, defensive back of some sort out of Iowa. If you play in an IDP format, you should already know who these guys are. The Eagles snagged 2 of the top 4 cornerbacks in the class. A good idea when statistically, one of them is going to be a bust. In the third round, they took Jalyx Hunt, edge, Houston Christian University. 6'4", 252 pounds, he was a former safety at Cornell that then bulked up so he could transition to edge at HCU. He's a late draft riser after he caught eyes at the Senior Bowl. He's got an RAS of 9.22. He is an athletic freak. However, he is from a small school and needs to develop his skills. He's 24 years old. I don't know exactly how he's going to be used on this defense. Vic Fangio switched him over to a 3-4 defense, and if he's an off-the-ball linebacker, he's going to be at least 3rd on the depth chart right now. His competition is Bryce Huff, Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat, Zach Bond, and Brandon Graham. Huff is 26 years old. He just signed a 3-year deal with the Eagles. Smith is 23 years old. He was a first-round draft pick last year. Sweat is 27 years old. We thought he left, but he's back for 1 more year. And Zach Bond is brand new to the team. 27 years old, 1-year deal. Brandon Graham is on his farewell tour. I don't expect anything for him in his rookie year. Honestly, he shouldn't even see the field. Now, the path to playing time is there next year, but I wouldn't bank on that either. I think that it's going to take a couple years for him to develop, and I think the Eagles are more likely to slow roll him. They might even bring more competition in next year to compete with him, and if you're going to invest in him in IDP, that's just going to be a long hold. In the 4th round, they took Will Shipley, running back out of Clemson. He's 5'11", 206 pounds. Not a purse dog, but not a mastiff either, more like a schnauzer. He runs a 4.42. He's 21 years old. He had over 2,000 rushing yards and 31 touchdowns in college, plus 85 receptions. He was involved in the passing game. Unfortunately, he had some fumbling issues too, 10 in 3 years. Some have actually compared him to Christian McCaffrey, maybe because of his size and pigment. I don't think he's actually an RB1 though. He's more of a complement back with receiving skills. I think he's a bigger Danny Woodhead, and that's not a slight. Danny Woodhead was actually pretty good for fantasy there for a couple years. The competition is Saquon Barkley, Kenneth Gainwell, and Lou Nichols. Barkley's 27 years old. He just signed a 3-year deal with an out after 2, but $8 million in dead cap money. He's not going anywhere and no one's taking him off the field. Kenneth Gainwell's 25 years old. He's in the final year of his rookie deal. Lou Nichols is 22. He was a 7th round pick last year by the Packers, but he was cut. He's now on a 2-year deal with the Eagles. I think Kenneth Gainwell is the big loser here. He's probably going to play out his rookie contract and then move on. Because if he wants to get paid, I don't think the Eagles are going to do it. If Saquon Barkley were to get injured, I think Shipley's value would spike. Absolutely, he'd be in some kind of timeshare with Kenneth Gainwell to start. But Kenneth Gainwell hasn't really looked all that quick the last couple of years. And it's not from age. I don't know if he gained weight and it slowed him down. But I think they would favor Kenneth Gainwell to start with, and over time, probably realize that Shipley is faster and shiftier. So I would think that that timeshare would favor Shipley the longer it exists. Currently, Will Shipley is being mocked about 41st overall. In my Superflex League, he was sandwiched between running backs Bucky Irving and Isaac Guerrero and Tyrone Tracy Jr. In the 5th round, they took Ainias Smith, wide receiver out of Texas A&M. Smith is 5'9", 190 pounds. He didn't test at the combine because he was recovering from surgery to repair a stress fracture in his shin. However, he did run at his pro day, so we do have numbers for him and his RAS. His 3-cone numbers stood out in particular. It matches his film. He's got quick feet, good after the catch, fights through contact. He had the 3rd lowest drop rate in this class, and he was 4th in missed tackles. He should be cleared to play any day. What I don't get is why Ainias Smith over Malik Washington, who ended up going like a round and a half, almost 2 rounds later. They're the same size, weight. Washington is faster and not coming off of injury. Smith had worse production. Why him? The roster is A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Paris Campbell, Devontae Parker, Britton Covey, and Johnny Wilson, who we'll get to in a sec. A.J. Brown is 26 years old. He's locked up. Devonta Smith is 25 years old. He is locked up as well. Paris Campbell's 26 years old. He's on a one-year deal for cheap. Devontae Parker is 31 years old. He's on a one-year deal for cheap. He's probably the number 4 right now. Britton Covey is just a return man. Don't let him hear me say that. I've never been a huge fan, but apparently he was second last year in average return yards. Outside of A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, I think really anyone here could be cut. Paris Campbell has a relationship with Sirianni from the Colts, and I think he does have the inside track for the slot role right now, so he's probably not going, but it wouldn't shock me if Devontae Parker got cut prior to camp. I think in Ainias Smith's rookie year, he's going to get a little use in the slot, but mostly just be a special teams guy. He's a 5th round draft prospect. They're going to try and develop him, but I do think he could be the slot guy next year. We just have to hope that Kellen Moore's offense and Jalen Hurts can support a slot guy who's actually probably the number 4 in team targets. Currently, he's being mocked 50th overall in a 12-team dynasty draft. In the 6th round, they took Johnny Wilson, wide receiver out of Florida State. Johnny Wilson is 6'6", maybe and change, runs a 4.5. His RAS is a 9.7. He had 1,700 yards and 8 touchdowns in college. He's a good route runner, good speed for his size, huge catch radius. The concerns are drops. He had a nearly 13% drop rate in college. Now, based on his draft capital and size, we're already hearing rumblings about will he transition to tight end. Switching to tight end does make some sense. We don't have a whole lot behind Dallas Goedert right now, but he's gonna have to pack on some weight and the transition could take a little time. It makes a lot of sense for him to go to the practice squad, or he could try and attempt that conversion. However, if he went to the practice squad, there's the very real possibility that he could get poached. Now, I have no expectations for him in fantasy or anywhere else. He's currently being mocked just outside the top 50. I am not investing in anyone on the practice squad or a project tight end. New York Giants. The Giants were patient as they continued to build for a future that will never come. Winners: Daniel Jones because he got Malik Nabers. Losers: Malik Nabers because he got Daniel Jones. Also Eric Gray and Daniel Bellinger. In the 1st round, they took Malik Nabers, wide receiver out of LSU. The New York Giants finally have a wide receiver 1 during Coach Daboll's tenure. He's got the size, speed, talent, and college production you look for. I'm not even gonna break this down because it's pretty obvious. He's been coming off the board 2nd overall in standard leagues, 4th in superflex leagues. In the 2nd round, they took Tyler Nubin, safety out of Minnesota. He's really good and he's likely walking into a starting gig. Again, pretty obvious here. Get Tyler Nubin in IDP format. Also, I know it's pronounced Nubin, not Nubbin, but I'm not missing a chance to call a guy Nubbin. Nubbin. In the 4th round, they took Theo Johnson, tight end out of Penn State. He's 6'6", 260 pounds. His metrics are all fantastic. He's got an RAS of 9.93. In college, he had 77 receptions, 938 yards, and 12 touchdowns. He graded as the most athletic tight end in the class. He runs good routes. He has huge hands, so high fives, not a problem. He's also a poor run blocker, not very dynamic after the catch, and the film didn't really do much for me. The tight end room is Darren Waller, maybe? Daniel Bellinger, and Jack Stoll. Darren Waller is 31 years old and maybe retired. No one seems to know. I don't know why it's like a Bigfoot secret, but as of this taping, no one knows. Daniel Bellinger is 23 years old. He's in the 3rd year of his rookie deal. And Jack Stoll is just a blocking tight end. Now, it's certainly still too early to say that Daniel Bellinger is toast. He's still only 23 years old. He can still be a productive tight end in this league. However, I think he is officially on notice with the Giants. It says something that after Bellinger's rookie year, they brought in Darren Waller. Now, I get it, it's Darren Waller, why wouldn't you? But then the very next year, they draft Theo Johnson. It seems like the evidence is mounting that they don't think Daniel Bellinger is the answer at that position. I think the route running of Theo Johnson will get him on the field as a rookie, at least part-time. Eventually, I think it's clear they want him to be the starting tight end here. But Bellinger's still there, and I think he's still in front of him, and it's kind of up to Bellinger to stop the rise of Theo Johnson. Theo Johnson is currently being mocked 42nd overall, usually between tight ends Cade Stover and Eric All. In the 5th round, they took Tyrone Tracy, running back out of Purdue. He's 5'11", 209 pounds. He's got good metrics. He's only been a running back for 1 year. Prior to that, he was a wide receiver, so the production doesn't really tell the tale. Last year he had 700 yards and 8 touchdowns. He's got good hands, he's got good speed to power, he's difficult to bring down. Now because he's a running back who converted from wide receiver, a lot of people like to comp him to Antonio Gibson. I get that, but Antonio Gibson was at least 20 pounds heavier. NFL.com actually comped him to Bilal Powell, which is more accurate, but I think Tracy has more upside. The running back room consists of Devin Singletary, Eric Gray, and Gary Brightwell. Devin Singletary will be 27 years old when the season starts. He's on a 3-year deal, but there is an out after 2. Eric Gray is 24 years old. He was a 5th-round pick from last year. And Gary Brightwell is 26 years old. He's on the last year of his rookie deal. Now, Devin Singletary is listed as the RB1 here, with Eric Gray as the backup. And I know some people really like Eric Gray, but I have never liked either one of those running backs. And I do like Tracy. I have no confidence that Gray can remain the backup all year long. I think Eric Gray is actually about the same size as Tracy. They both have the same draft capital, but Tracy is the one here who has more upside. So I'm banking on the fact that Tracy's gonna have an opportunity to carve out his own role here this year and moving forward. I think you should target Tyrone Tracy in your rookie drafts. Fantasy Pros had him mocked 32nd overall, a little bit lower in Superflex, and he's worth the price. Washington Commanders. Last year, the Commanders got some new owners. Now they've got a new coach and a new quarterback. Winners, pass catchers, the entire running back room, losers, Cole Turner, and every rookie for their introduction to professional sports, being a home stadium with less working infrastructure than the local prison. In the first round, they took Jayden Daniels, quarterback, LSU. He's 6'4", 181 pounds, runs a 4.5. Last year, he threw for 3,800 yards, 4 touchdowns, and only 4 interceptions. Plus, he had 1,100 yards on the ground rushing. He's mobile, he's accurate, and he makes great decisions. What I don't like? That breadstick thin frame. The quarterback room is Marcus Mariota, Jeff Driscoll, and Jake Fromm. And I cannot believe for one second that they might even think about saying he's not the day 1 starter. Currently, Daniels is going about the 3rd or 4th overall in a Superflex league, usually coming down to a choice between him and Malik Nabers. In the 2nd round, they took Jer'Zhan? Fuck it. Johnny Newton, defensive tackle, Illinois. He's 6'2", 304 pounds. He had 187 tackles, 18 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. Even an idiot like me can see the hand skills on tape, allowing him to speed by offensive linemen with consistency. He's a beast at the line, but his skills are multiple. He's clever, he can win a number of ways, he can contribute early. The depth chart is Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, and Phildarian Mathis. Payne is 26 years old. He just signed a 4-year deal last year with an out after 2025. But with $11 million of dead cap money, he's not going anywhere. Jonathan Allen is 29 years old, but his deal is up after 2025. I think Newton will see the field in his rookie year, probably rotating in and out some, but I do think he's the eventual takeover here for Jonathan Allen after he leaves in 2025. I absolutely love Newton, and I think that everyone should grab him in IDP. In the 2nd round, they took Mike Sainristil, cornerback out of Michigan. He's a former wide receiver. He's got good instincts, he's a solid tackler, he's an absolute athlete. He's got an RAS of 8.45. The only thing I don't like about him is his height. He's 5'9". The roster is Emmanuel Forbes, Benjamin St-Juste, and Mike Davis. Forbes is 23, he was a 1st-round pick last year. St-Juste is 26, he's on the last year of his deal. And Mike Davis is 29. Sainristil is a really good, solid player, and I think he could be a starter this year as the nickel corner, which, depending on your league, might be worth less because he sees less of the field. In the 2nd round, they took Ben Sinnott, tight end out of Kansas State. He was one of my favorites going into the draft, but I'm a little surprised he went so early. He's 6'4", 250 pounds, got good metrics all the way around. He's been comped to Cole Kmet. He's 21 years old, which is refreshing in this draft class. He's a solid blocker, he's elusive, he can run routes at all 3 levels. He had limited college production, 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns over 3 years. Now, Zach Ertz is 33 years old. He's on a 1-year deal for super cheap. John Bates is 26 years old. He is entering the final year of his deal. Cole Turner is 24 years old. He was a former wide receiver that's trying to make the transition to tight end. He just got passed over on the depth chart. He's still got 2 years left though. So the draft capital, the existing depth chart, the talent, everything suggests that Sinnott is a starter moving forward. This year? Next year? Yeah. whenever, like at any point really. His fantasy outlook is he's currently being mocked to 21st overall, or about the back of the second in a 12-team league, and that was true in my most recent Superflex draft too. Not far behind Adonai Mitchell, but before Jermaine Burton. So if you want him, you're gonna have to go up and get him. In the third round, they took Luke McCaffrey, wide receiver out of Rice. He's 6'2", 198 pounds. He had 1,700 yards receiving, 927 rushing, and 22 total touchdowns over 5 years between Rice and Nebraska. He's a former quarterback. He's improved a lot quickly. People are actually saying that he's learning the position at an accelerated rate. And if you like a good RAS, box checked. He rose up the draft ranks really fast here in the last couple months. That's a little concerning. Some called him a steal, but it actually kind of felt a little early to pull the trigger on him. And it seems like a lot of stuff regarding him is more of a projection. So how fast will he develop and how high is his ceiling is the question. The roster is Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Dyami Brown, Jamison Crowder, Olamide Zaccheaus. McLaurin will be 29 years old when this season starts. He's on a 3-year deal with an out after 2024, but no, he's not going anywhere. Jahan Dotson's 24 years old. He's still on his rookie deal. Dyami Brown is 24. He's in the final year of his rookie deal. Jamison Crowder's 30. He's on a 1-year deal and can be cut whenever. And Zaccheaus is 26 years old. He's also on a 1-year deal. McCaffrey appears to be penciled in as the slot receiver already. So in his rookie year, yeah, he'll be on the field already. Currently, he's being mocked 26th overall, near Roman Wilson and Jalen Polk. And that's the NFC East. Like I said, we are breaking down every team by their division, so please come back and check out the other videos as well. This is that magical time of year when I actually do fantasy football content and treat myself to the uninitiated vitriol of the comments section. It's like slamming my wiener in a car door. Emotionally. Thanks for watching Shut Up Football. We do appreciate it. Say hi to your mom for me. We'll see you in the next one. Peace!
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boy.
Poop my pants, and everybody says, "Did you poop your pants?" And then I say, "I didn't poop my pants, but I did."